All right, let's see if this works. Change the headphones up. Tell me if you guys can hear me. All good now? You can hear me? Don't know what happened there. Major apologies. Perfect. Sweet as. Jump back on, guys. Apologies, don't know what happened there. I unmuted it. I did everything I needed to do. So, yeah, sorry about that, boys. The feed was laggy. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but that's the first time it's ever happened. So it's usually been pretty good. So I do apologize about that. But yeah, I'll drop the link now to jump on. And there we go. So the link's there on now. Sorry, guys. It was bound to happen once out of the 7 or 8 lives that I've done. So we'll make up the time for that one there. And they're coming through thick and fast. Take 2. Here we go. All right. Well, let's just get straight into it because we've delayed it enough. So I do apologise. I've got on the backstage at the moment, we've got Anth from Pies Footy. Give us a thumbs up if you can hear me. Everything's all good. And I'll add him to the stage here. Anth from Pies Footy, welcome to the Black and White United show, mate. Appreciate your time.
Pleasure, mate. What's going on?
No, just going through these technical difficulties at the moment. This is the first time it's ever happened, but I'm glad it's happened now, and it's not going to happen if I've got, more people on, but which is okay. Now, a few things I want to ask you.
Go on.
You posted your team. You posted your team tonight on who you think's going to play and stuff. Tell me your thinking with Cox and with Charlie West.
Look, I think the attractive story is we give West the appearance. His form certainly warrants it. Now, whether it will truly be this week or next week is probably yet to be seen. I think Coxie, he's done nothing wrong towards earning an appearance against Geelong. Now, I'll probably go that way. At the very least, I think when they go to Perth, Charlie West will get his debut. But wishful thinking is maybe I'm trying to manifest something that we all want to see a week earlier. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm thinking more of the travel side of things. They're probably going to rest a couple of players against Freo, and that's no disrespect to Freo, but I think just the way that we're lining up and the way that, that everyone's playing at the moment, I've got a feeling that the first one they're going to rest, everyone thinks maybe Sidebottom or Pendlebury or something like that that's going to rest. I reckon Jordan De Goey is the first one that's going to get a rest. But then a flip side with that, if you rest him, then you've also got the issue of, well, he's not going to be match fit. Like you're limiting his time on the ground, and you're not going to play him in the twos. So I don't know. I'm thinking maybe they'll probably let Cox in for the Geelong game, and then potentially let Charlie West in. But then do you keep Cox in for Fremantle as well? It's a big conundrum that we've got. But how good is it to actually have these problems for once?
Yeah, I agree, man. Well, what about Lachie Schultz? He's a test. You bring him in for Geelong, but then do you ask him to travel as well? Like that's another tricky predicament.
So I'd probably rest him for Geelong and then let him travel for the Fremantle game and give him that extra week so he can. You know what I mean? So, but I don't know. It's a big one because it's against his old side as well. So he's probably going to play, especially over there.
Oh, for sure. Stick it up then.
So what else what are you thinking about us at the moment? What's the deal that you got at the moment?
Look, it's honestly, it's pretty smooth sailing, to be fair, and I think there'll come a time where we're going to have a few headaches, and we'll be ready for that. To be honest, after the last few years, man, I'm pretty glad we're in a bit of a purple patch, because it just, mate, fuck, when we're losing, oh, it's just a headache, to be honest, but that's part and parcel of the game.
Yeah. Do you think maybe because we won the flag 2 years ago, we're a bit more like to the extreme of one side or the other? So we're a bit more like, yep, the lid's off. We can see where we're going 100%. This is it. Or is it the opposite way? We won the flag 2 years ago, so the lid is firmly on, just taking it literally 1 week at a time.
Fuck. That's a good question, Professor. That's a good one. I think we've lived for a long time with the lid off over the last 10 years, 10, 15 years. We've always been pretty much up there. So I think we just know how to handle these weeks and these emotions. So maybe we're a team that haven't been successful for a long time. When the lid's off for them, fuck you, you'll hear about it from Reservoir all the way to the G. You'll hear about it, but for us, we're sort of just used to it. We know how to temper our emotions.
I've got a comment here from T, and he says that Frampton rucking at training suggests that West is going to play.
Do I think that?
Do you read much into it or not?
Frampton rucking. Well, that just really, to me, means Mick stays injured, so somebody else is going to have to do some pinch hitting in the ruck, and that will be Frampton. Who plays forward? That's going to be Mason Cox. So you're probably going to see a dosage of Frampton, Cox, and DC in a ruck. I don't think there's too much to read into that. What about you?
No, I think maybe just if the ball goes down back and like Cox is up forward or something like that, then Frampton will just relieve him while the ball's down back if Cameron hasn't pushed back yet. It's more just like if you're there, you're there. But also too, probably just during training, like they're probably just helping him out because we are now limited with the rucks. And I also know that Oscar Steen wasn't rucking as well because he had a corky or something from the VFL game. So it was probably just another helping hand at training. I wouldn't be surprised if Frampton actually helped out during the match down back with the rucking, especially now that Darcy Moore's back as well.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's it. So what are you predicting against Sean? What's your predictions?
Prediction is it's always a tough matchup with Geelong, isn't it? You got some interesting matchups in the forward line. You got Jeremy Cameron to worry about, then you got Patrick Dangerfield. Does Brian Myers come back? I'm not too sure. Tom Stewart, where's he at the moment? Like, there's a few question marks, but they've been overall pretty good this season. They've had a couple disappointing losses. It's just, it's almost a coin flip. I'd say it's a 60-40 game in Collingwood's favour, but we just know it's always a tough game against a Geelong side.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that Jeremy Cameron doesn't get off the leash. Like if he kicks 1 or 2, you predict it, like it's going to happen regardless.
Yeah.
But I just don't want him to be like a 4 or 5 goal game, because if it's a 4 or 5 goal game and Cameron's dominating up forward, then it's very much in Geelong's favour, regardless of how good that we're playing. You just need to shut him down because he always tends to have a bit of a field day against us. So that's probably my only worry. But, I mean, regardless, I think the way they played against Carlton, you would think that we'd have them covered, especially with the speed. So, but you just don't know against them. You just don't know against Geelong. It could go either way.
Every game just seems to be another tough matchup, man. There's no respite for the lads.
Yeah. Every week it's a grand final against somebody else. It's the opposite team's grand final whenever they play against us.
Oh, well, wouldn't have it any other way, would ya?
That's it. No, that's it. We're the best, and that's it. And thanks so much for joining. Everybody, make sure you jump on Pies Footy if you haven't already. But most of the ones here already on. But thanks for joining tonight, man. I really appreciate it.
No worries, bro. Take care. Love your work.
Nice. Thanks, bro. Catch ya. All right. Now the stream is a little bit slow tonight, so I do apologise, probably because it is what it is. But there's a few of us on. Now this one here, I want to get him on. James, can you hear me?
I can, mate. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear, buddy. There's a slight delay tonight in the feed, but that's okay. We're getting there.
No worries.
It must be the internet down here in Sunbury is just absolutely piss poor. So, but it is what it is. Tell me, what are you feeling at the moment in regards to the Pies? We watched the Anzac Day game together. What were your initial thoughts, especially in that first half?
I think we're playing magnificent. I just had this feeling at the beginning of the year that we were just going to kill it this year. Obviously, we started off slow, but always had faith, and I think we're on the right track. We've actually got some injuries now, and we're still playing well. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting match. I think Geelong's a bit of a bogey team, a little bit. Well, they have been in the past, so it'll be interesting. I thought it would have been a really close match, but they got done pretty bad last week with Carlton. That they should have won that. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. I think we will play Cox. I think he'll be in for a couple of weeks, and I would say Charlie West will probably come in. I think we've got Adelaide in a couple of weeks, so I think they might put him in against Adelaide and then North Melbourne the week after. They'll probably give him a couple of good weeks and see how he goes. That's just what I think anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm on the same wavelength with that one there. I just don't know if there was a comment before. I'm just trying to find it quickly now while I'm talking. There was one Manny said here, which like I really agree with. It said if you bring in West at the it's at the G and not in Perth, let the kid play in front of the faithful. And I am fully like supportive of that, but I just think against Geelong, you really do need Mason Cox to be in, and it's more just the experience. And then they're not the shortest team either. I mean, you've even you got Blitzarves, I think Stanley as well, and then Dangerfield's not short and he's dominating at centre half forward at the moment. Then obviously you got Cameron. So Tom Stewart as well. And these guys are pretty big. So the taller, the better. I obviously can't play them all, but I just think in this situation here, you probably need to have Mason Cox in. If we were playing against North Melbourne this week, and as I said before, no disrespect, or even Adelaide, you may want to bring in Charlie West for that, playing against a smaller club. But it's a game like Geelong and an important game like Geelong. I mean, if Geelong lose, they're out of the 8 this week too. So there's a whole bunch of conundrums that can happen at the moment. What did you think of Dan Houston's game on the weekend?
It was a bit quiet. I'm not too sure why it was a bit quiet because, I thought he would have been, rearing to go after having a couple of weeks off. So, yeah, it was interesting. I think it'll be a different story this week. But I just Geelong have got some mature bodies. They're big and strong. I think we'll probably want to have the same sort of team on the field this week. I think having some experience and some big bodies on the ground will be beneficial for us.
Well, T's come up with a good point here in the comment. He said Houston will come good. He's getting used to the system. And I agree with that 100%. But I also think if he didn't get suspended, he probably would already be used to the system 100% by now, because you're not going to go play him in the twos, ever, regardless. I know you can't if you're suspended, but if he's not playing in the ones, you're not going to play him in the twos. So, you can take away the opening round game, obviously, because he was serving his suspension from Port. But I think if he had played those 2 games against Sydney and Brisbane, and both being really important games, his form in Anzac Day probably would have been a bit better. But with that being said, I mean, it was the quick 1-2 hand passes. It was the getting the ball outside the pack and hand passing it off, or doing long kicks into the forward line. He still had these little tiny moments. And I think that was very, very important for us, obviously moving forward to win. What did you think when Essendon obviously started coming back at us a little bit, and we were both sitting there, you know, and we're thinking, oh God, here we go. What was your initial thoughts, especially at the start of that third quarter?
Yeah, it's always a bit of a worry, but I think I was always confident. I don't know. We're just gelling really well together. I think it's just a really good team at the moment. Everyone's on board, and it's just gelling really well. So I just had confidence that we'll come back and end up winning. I didn't really feel like that we're going to lose. I think it was just ours to win, and it would have taken a few mistakes for us to lose the game. I think we're pretty much well on top the whole match. Just a couple of patches there that Essendon sort of kicked some goals, but I think too we did sort of let him in a little bit as well.
Yeah, I felt like we just sort of not so much go to sleep, but Essendon just got their hands on the ball and were a little bit cleaner. So like halfway through that second to halfway through that third. But I mean, at the same time, every week when we've played, whenever there's somebody that's actually challenged us, whenever a team's, and I said this in one of my videos, whenever we've been challenged by a side, we've always been able now this season to respond and take it up a notch when we're responding. Whereas 12 months ago, that game against Essendon, we probably would have lost. We wouldn't have blown them out at the water in that last quarter like we did. I feel, and even against Brisbane, when they were challenging us, I feel like 12 months ago it would have been, I don't know if we're going to hold on. But now it's just like, good, challenge us, because you're sort of inviting us now to play even better. And that's not being cocky. That's just the feel that I got. Did you sort of have that same sort of feel, especially leading into the last?
Yeah. I think too. I think a lot of credit needs to go to the coaching team. I think they've just done. I think they've gone to another level this year as well. It's not just Fly. I think it's everyone involved that's sort of contributing in the coaching team. I don't think it's it's got to be just the way everything's going at the moment. I know it's just everything's just going really well, and I think the coaching team needs to get a bit of credit for that as well as the leaders on the ground.
Yeah, 100%. What's your predictions, Geelong? We're actually going together for everybody. Not that everyone needs to know, but me and you are sitting together. Level 1 AFL members. What's your prediction for this one, James?
I think it's going to be a hard match. I think they're going to throw everything at it. I'm worried about Jeremy Cameron. Look, I don't know. It's like we're due for a loss, but I think we'll still come through. I think we'll be up by maybe 2 goals by the end of the day. I'll give it a couple of goals. But it's going to be a really, really good hard match.
Yeah, I think that's a general feel. 2 to 3 goals. Yeah, 100%. Just a quick shout out to Pies Footy again for the special comment. Really appreciate that for the super chat. That's my first ever super chat, so that's worthy of a comment regardless. So thank you so much for that, Anth. I really appreciate it, and all the support that you've given me along the way as well. So James, you reckon Jeremy Cameron's a danger man, and you're predicting the Pies by about 12 points. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. I think we've got them pretty much covered.
I hope you're right, mate.
I think we've got them pretty much covered, especially in the midfield and definitely probably half back.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see what happens, but it could be one there as well. It could be, it depends what kind of game plan they're going to have against us. But I don't know. I think it's ours.
I hope so too. James, thank you so much for jumping on tonight. I really appreciate it and all the support you've given me from the start for this channel. For those of you who don't know, James is obviously one of my really close mates, and he's been pushing me along pretty hard while I started this. So I do appreciate everything, and thanks for jumping on, and I shall see you on Saturday.
No worries, mate. Catch you later.
No worries. Thanks, man. Cheers. All right. Get more people on in the backstage so we can keep going, but the comments are coming through thick and fast, which is awesome. And I do apologise if there is a bit of a lag in the feed, so I'm not sure what's happening. There was a comment here by Nicole, which I just wanted to quickly touch on. It says here, how bad was the umpires in the last quarter? So I'm going to put this out there pretty straightforward. I think the whole game, the umpires were shocking for Anzac Day, and not just like the calls that went our way or went Essendon's way. It was just in general. There was both of them. Like there was a part where Steel Sidebottom got a free kick for like the dunk after, which was like there was nothing in it. And I remember looking at James, who was just on, and I said to him, I'm like, are you serious? Like that's not a free kick. I mean, you take them 100%. You'll take them every day of the week, but really, like, are we really going to give those free kicks? And it just sort of wrecks the momentum and the feel of the game. And obviously, it's a big occasion. It's Anzac Day. I mean, you see how it is in the finals, where they just throw the whistle away regardless, and they don't say anything, they don't do anything, they throw it away, and the football's grouse. That's fine, but you've conditioned us for that anyway for the finals. Don't just put the whistle away in this game, and then all of a sudden you're paying the really, really crap cheap ones, like that one where I think it was a Josh Dacos who went and got the ball instead and got the ball, and the Essendon player literally just dived next to him, and then he got the free kick for the slide. I just think that was it's just swings and roundabouts and everything, but I'm getting few margins, which is really good. So we've got here pies by 14. We've got here pies by 19, if it shows up. Sorry, it's just a bit delayed, this one here. I really do apologise for the here tonight, guys, but it is what it is. We will push on. The show will still go on. This one here too, he goes, the rules change. Nick said the rules change every week. I think it's more just the umpire's interpretation of the actual rules regardless. But it's what they have in their head, and as Michael Gary just pointed out in the comments there, literally I just took the words out of my mouth. Each umpire has a different set of rules. I think it's each umpire's interpretation of that rule, and most of the time, if it's a free kick for you, your interpretation is with the umpire, but when it goes against, automatically you're like, no, it's not. It's just the way we are as football supporters. But excuse me, regardless, I think the umpiring's just been absolutely atrocious this year. And it's probably due to the fact that they're not actually full-time umpires. And just quickly before I get the next guest on, I said this I'm on the Jumper Punch, the Carlton channel, every Wednesday night. I jump on sometime between 8 and 8:30. So if you haven't already, I know it's a Carlton channel, but jump onto the Jumper Punch's YouTube page and give them a follow. It's actually a pretty decent page, and they have a show on Wednesday nights called The Forever Rivals, and I jump on with the guys, and there's Collingwood, Carlton, Essendon, Richmond supporters. Get it, Forever Rivals. And a lot of the time we do agree on stuff, and sometimes we don't. We take the piss out of each other and blah blah blah. But I did say on that channel last week that the umpires needs to be full-time umpires. There needs to be an actual hub where in each state, and there's permanent full-time umpires in each state, and those umpires usually umpire the same games together, and it's because they become a team in themselves. No one can tell me, or no one can tell you, no one can tell anyone that it's a money problem. The AFL makes enough money to do whatever, right? You're basically going to bring in a team in Tasmania and you got to pay all this money, and stadiums need to be built, and all this type of crap. Yet at the end of the day, it's like, mate, can't you just give the umpires that backing, because then it means their decisions and the way they are is going to be 10 times better. I don't know. I just think that that's a better way to go about it, and you're going to see better decisions, and umpires are going to get paid more money, which means they're going to be putting in more time, more effort, more time and effort into their trade, which makes it easy. And no one actually understands it. Yes, the umpires make horrible calls, but the way the rules are changing from the AFL, it makes the umpiring 10 times difficult, and they are only human. So we do need to sort of like understand that part as well. But I mean, any Tom, Dick and Harry can see how, from where I am to 15 metres, I think that's the thing here. And ESC Australia, bang, people don't realise, especially umpires, how short 15 metres is. It's the length of your hallway. I've got a measuring wheel. Maybe next week I'll get the measuring wheel out, and in one of my videos I'll actually measure my hallway, and we'll go from there. Luke says hi. All right, we're going to get Kev on. Kev's been waiting patiently. Kev, give us a thumbs up if you can hear me. Yep, awesome. Here we go.
Can you hear me perfectly, or?
Kev, how are you, mate?
Yep. Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are
I can hear
you?
you loud and clear, mate. I'm good, mate. Sorry about the delay before, but
No,
we're
all
good.
good,
Kev,
mate. It
tell me,
happens.
what did you think about the Essendon game, mate? Tell me your thoughts, not so quickly.
Well, I wasn't expecting a 40-point win. To be honest with you, I thought it would have been a close margin, considering that Anzac Days generally being good games. Weather footy, good. We played that. I didn't like the black shorts with the white kit. I personally thought that was a bit of a clash. If you're gonna put us in the white kit,
You thought that the Collingwood wearing
shorts.
a white jumper and
Yeah, I don't get how Essendon and Richmond they can wear it against each other and against other teams like Port Adelaide, St Kilda, that sort of teams, but they can't wear it against us. That's where I have an issue with it. Why is it that we have to wear our clash kit with white shorts, but when it's our home game, we wear our home kit and they wear their home jumper with white shorts? It causes more of a clash. It certainly looked like from where I was sitting.
So on that, I understand what you're saying in regards to like general games and stuff like that. Like where, for example, like the game against Geelong coming up, Collingwood has to wear their black base and black shorts, and Geelong need to wear their normal top with white shorts, and there's no clash, right? So if Geelong were to play against Collingwood and Geelong were to wear their navy blue shorts and we were to wear our white shorts, that's when there's a clash. In regards to Anzac Day, obviously it wasn't a clutch kit. It was a special one-off jumper, regardless of the occasion or whatever it is. We were wearing it. It wasn't technically a clutch kit. It was just something different, and with the black shorts. Now, if you can remember, back in 2021, right, we wore that black Anzac Day jumper, which was amazing. But Essendon also wore a black-based jumper with the red poppy sash. That was a kit clash. I didn't necessarily think this was a kit clash, but I think we probably should have worn the white shorts regardless if it was our home game or not, because that would have been predominantly all white. Do you think that as well? If we wore the white shorts, it would have been okay, and they wore black, regardless if it was our home game?
Yeah, because I said that in my review too. Like I mentioned, the fact is that when you have mainly a white kit with black shorts compared to a black and red sash with white shorts, it will cause more of a clash, because as when you're playing out there, you're not just looking for the jumper, but you're also looking at the shorts. So this is where I have pretty much a strong opinion on jumper clashes, and I've been saying it for a while, is that the AFL too soft on forcing these clubs to wear a clash kit against us. And it doesn't matter if it's Anzac Day, doesn't matter if we're playing Carlton or Richmond. The darker jumpers, and especially the blacks in the Richmond and Essendon, cause more of a clash, especially if they're wearing white shorts. So I think the AFL should say to Richmond, Carlton, and Essendon, when you're playing against each other, wear your clash kit, because of some people might have trouble seeing, like long distance and that they may have trouble seeing, and therefore you want to make it easy for your audience. When you watch soccer, when you watch basketball, they always have more than one kit, so therefore it does not clash with the other teams. So if we were to be serious on clash
No, I
jumpers,
get, yeah. I
we
get your
need
point in regards to the whole clash jumper side of things, but what I'm saying is it was and this is why I put Manny's comment up here. That was a 30-year like special Anzac Day type. So I think it was I think this time, if you thought there was a clash, it sort of, you might need to let it slide a little bit. In general, though, I do agree with your points about the clash kits and stuff. I just think for this game in particular, I don't think there was much of a clash, but I do think we should have worn the white shorts with that jumper to make it
was my own,
just an all white base.
only
That
concern.
probably, but that's probably where I okay. So what did you think about the actual game? Did you think that we how did you think, especially after Essendon came back at us, how did you think we went in that second half?
Well, we didn't start really well in that third quarter. They kicked the first couple goals, and then we just got going after that. And I was saying at the game, all right, guys, don't worry about that one. Just let's get the next one, because the more that we let that affect us, the more that Essendon can kick like 3, 4, 5 goals, and then we're having to play catch up. But I was confident that because we're only like a few points down, that we can still dominate that third quarter, because our third quarters has been our most dominant quarters this year compared to any other. I don't think our third quarters were dominant last year and the year before. It's generally been our last quarters that's generally got the job done. But this year, especially minus the Giants game, our third quarter's been our most dominant quarters, and we've kicked like 4, 5, 6 goals in that quarter within that 30-minute period, and therefore we're getting the job done. And I wasn't panicking, not a little bit nervous, but was a little bit concerned at that how easy Essendon had it. But I knew we would win. I thought it would be close. I wasn't expecting a 40-point win on Anzac Day in wet conditions. So it would take the win. Naturally,
Yeah,
Geelong this Saturday night. Yeah, it's gonna be real. This is a real 50-50 one, but I think we can win it. It's all a matter of playing against Geelong. You can't let them play one quarter of footy, because if you let them play one quarter of footy, you know they're capable of kicking 4, 5, 6 goals in a row like they did against Carlton, and they almost came back and won.
yeah, okay. And what are your thoughts about Geelong? Do you think we'll get the chocolates against Geelong, and if so, by how much?
I think we'll win 15 points, I think. And
Okay.
I think if we can just dominate in the clearances, and we've got a good efficiency going inside 50, and we're not bombing the ball to give Geelong a chance, like your Tom Stewart's in the world. Who knows, he may miss this week considering he got injured against Carlton. But if he does play, you don't want to kick the ball long to him where he can mark everything. You have to lower your eyes when you go forward. You got to really use your angle kicks as well, and just be wary of, okay, if
Yeah.
we're gonna bomb, at least put your knee up in the marking contest. And if you get Tom Stewart, you get Tom Stewart. If you don't, all right, great. But if you're gonna compete for that footy, either you try and mark it. If not, bring the ball to ground for opponents to really crumb the ball. So yeah, I think 15 points is genuine where I think we'll win. But I will not
Okay.
be surprised if we smack them, to be honest.
I
Yes,
think that's the
that
general
caused a lot of
consensus.
headaches.
Kev, thank you so
Yeah.
much for Liz. Kev, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate the input that you've had on this channel and stuff. I really appreciate it. So thank you so much.
No, thank you, mate.
And
Thank you for
I'm sure
having
we'll see
me.
you on the next fan cams.
Yeah, we'll do, mate.
Cheers, mate.
See ya.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. All right. I've got Manny in. Now, just Manny, I want to get you in, but it doesn't seem like you've got your camera and stuff up. But just see if you can get that sorted. Just quickly too, I'm reading these comments here, and there was a really good point, and I actually had this noted down, and you guys have started talking about it, which is pretty good. Now, Myers. So Peter started here. He goes, Geelong's best ball user and the guy that sets up their forward 50 entries with his kick-ins back this Saturday night is Myers. We need to apply pressure on his kicking and quell his influence. Now, he got absolutely smashed by, what's his face? Was it Meek? I can't remember. One of their big guys. Now, is he going to be actually able to play? Because then I've got Chris here saying, I don't think he's playing. I've got Peter then saying, apparently he's out of protocol. So if we can find that out, that'd be good. Because if he is missing against us, then, yeah, that's a massive in for the Pies. That's actually quite good for us. Now, Manny said that his daughter's actually broken his camera. So I will see how it goes just with the audio, see how it works, and we'll go from there. See if it works.
Hello.
Manny, can you hear me, buddy?
Hello,
what's
buddy.
happening, mate? How are you?
How are you, mate? Can you hear me?
Yeah, good. How are you? Yeah, I can hear you
Can you
loud
hear
and
me?
clear, mate. Can you hear me?
What's going on, buddy? Good to see
Can you
another
hear me,
Collingwood
mate? All good?
supporter. Yeah, all good, bro. All good. Good to see another
So
Collingwood
tell me
supporter
what your
doing
thoughts
that.
were.
Thoughts on
Yeah,
what, buddy?
thanks, mate. I really appreciate it. What were your thoughts on the Essendon game, just quickly?
Well, first quarter, we should have smashed them. Simple as that. First quarter, we should have smacked them. Nick should have had 3 goals in the first quarter. Right, we were all over them. We just couldn't finish off on the scoreboard. Then they come back a bit. We let them come. We let them come back a bit. And then you know what happened? The coach got to him. And, the coach said, "Hey, boys, right, pull your fingers out of your asses, right, and run right over them, right." As soon as it started raining again, right, we just ran straight over them. They're no match for us, bro. They're no match for us. But I'm telling you, this weekend, Geelong's going to come out and they're going to come out real hard.
See, this is the thing that I was thinking. Now, I was watching the Carlton Geelong game where I watched like the highlights and stuff, and I was watching bits and pieces throughout. I genuinely thought that Carlton didn't actually look that good. I thought that Geelong were just really, really slow. Geelong were getting the ball and they were slow with their decisions, and they weren't playing. I don't know. They weren't playing their usual fast, manic type of pressured game. That it's actually very similar to the way that we play. Carlton just completely had every answer that, every time Geelong did something, Carlton just answered really well. Now, but I don't think Carlton were actually that good. I think it was more that Geelong were just, they had a shit day, right? Now, the thing that I hate is that they lose right before they play us. So they're going to come out with a point to prove, because if Geelong drop their game against us, they're out of the 8.
Yeah, I know that, but let me tell you what happened against Carlton, right? They played. They'll come off a 5-day break. They'll come off a 5-day break first of all, right? They'll come off a 5-day break, right? Second of all, they weren't connected. That was not a Geelong. That was not a Geelong performance. You're right. That was not. I was watching the game. I watched it perfectly. what I do is I watch it on purpose, and I watch Pommy at the same time, and I love watching them getting smacked. Right, as soon as I saw Geelong come out, that wasn't Geelong, and also they're coming off now. I think they're playing their third game in 12 days, so we're fresher than them. So they're coming off a 6-day break again, right? And we're coming off a 7-day break. We should run all over them. But don't worry. I don't know if you remember, there was a final we played against them. We played them in a final. I think it was 2023, right? And it was full on from the start. I'm telling you, they're gonna come out and they're gonna come out hard, mate. I'm telling you, it's not gonna be the same. And also, they're getting that Graham Myers back. You could see that they were lacking that connection from the half.
I've just seen Peter's comment now, and I just put it up here, and he said Myers will be back, so we need to plan for him. He's their go-to man for hitting inside forward 50s. So I'm spewing that he's back now because I think that it just falls after the 12-day protocol that he's eligible to play. So that's the thing. I think that final that you're talking about was in 2020. It was the COVID year, and they smashed. They came out and they were red hot, pretty much. I think Gary Rowan again was the same thing. But the other one that we played them that was like that really good qualifying final was in 2022. We lost to them by a goal, and I remember watching that game. And then I remember watching the Geelong documentary right after, and Joel Selwood said in that one there, it's actually, for a non-Collingwood premiership documentary, it's actually one of the best ones that I've seen. And he turned around and he said that they knew they had the premiership won the second they beat Collingwood in the qualifying final, because they thought, Collingwood's good now, they're probably going to win the next, and they're going to have to travel and blah, blah, blah. And they knew that they would have us. And I think to myself, geez, if we had won that qualifying final in 22, God knows what would have happened. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm just glad that we did it the year after, regardless, if anything. But it's always a big game between us and them. I think that, and I was commenting on one of the Geelong pages, the Hoops crew, and I was listening to them speak, and the host said the same thing too. We tend to match up so well against them, like both teams. You might have a blowout here and there, but both teams really do play well against each other, regardless. So I think this is going to be one of those games. I think it's actually going to be game of the season, to be honest with you. I think this is going to be bigger than the Easter Monday clash between Hawthorn. Yeah, and I think this is going to be a better quality game than obviously Anzac Day, because hopefully if the weather's not too wet and stuff. But how much do you think that we'll get up by?
Put it this way. I'm not, even if we lose, I'm not really worried. You know how I'm looking at this season now? I'm breaking it down very easily and simply for me. I'm looking at it like this, right? We're 6-1, right? We're 6-1. We haven't played the shit kickers yet. So we're talking about Richmond, and we're talking about North Melbourne, and we're talking about West Coast, right? So we beat them 3. We're 6-1. That makes us 9-1. So all we got to do after that, right, is win another 5-6 games, and we're top 4. So it doesn't matter. We've got that much of a good start now that even if they come out hard, as long as we don't get hammered, right, we come out hard, right, and we take them on hard, right. Even if we lose, mate, we still got wins in the bank, so that's not too bad for us. So we've set ourselves up wildly. Yeah. As long as we don't get any injuries, right? Don't get any injuries, we should be fine. But we're a different team than 2023. You know why? I can see it every time I go. I'm from South Australia. There, I watch it on TV, right? But I can tell, right, that I can tell the hunger's back. I can watch them. As soon as I see that first ball gets bounced, right, I can tell whether our Collingwood footy's back. You can just see it straight away. I don't know if you can tell, right, but I can tell. As soon as that first ball gets bounced, I can tell straight away if we're on or we're off.
Yeah, I've been to every Melbourne game that we've played this season, apart from Anzac Day. I couldn't get down to Anzac Day, just with the family and stuff. It was the logistical nightmare. But even watching it with James, who was on before, you can tell that there is much more of a desire during the matches than what there was last year. Now, you can call it premiership hangover, you can call it whatever, a slow start, you can say whatever you want, but there's a part of last year, though, that I think was really good, and it was like the last couple of weeks of the season, after we lost those 4 in a row, the last couple of weeks in the season when we played against Brisbane, when we played against Melbourne, you could, even the loss to Sydney, right, that cost us eventually the final spot, you could just see that, hang on a second, we're probably the second or third best team in the competition at the moment, but the problem is we haven't banked the wins that we needed to early. I mean, in last season, we lost to St Kilda, for God's sake, right? And then, you know, we only just got over teams like Adelaide, and then we only beat North Melbourne by the barest of margins after, which really we shouldn't have won that game. You know what I mean? So if you look at that compared to this season and when banking the wins early, you're 100% correct. The only thing is the fixture was supposed to work against us this season. You know, the fixture was, you look at it, we finished 9th and we're playing all the finalists of last year, bar Essendon, in the first quarter of the season.
Yeah, that's a good thing, bro. Don't worry about it. That's a good thing. You know why? Because it gets us into gear quickly. We know we can't take it easy. We've got no choice there, but that's okay. You know why? Because our draw will open up. Our draw is going to open up slowly soon, right? And you know what the good thing is? Hopefully, I know I haven't checked it properly. I don't know, maybe you have, but hopefully our draw opens up when it starts getting cold and wet. Once it says it starts getting cold and wet, that's when the hard footy comes in. So if our draw opens up during those months, right, and then the sun starts coming out before spring, right, and we're primed, and we're near the top of the ladder, right? Don't worry, I'm telling ya, right? Hey, listen, teams fear us now, bro. I'm telling ya, they know we're brutal. I know. I'm a 40-year member there. I know Collingwood footy, bro. Right? You watch footy as well. You're that generation just after me. I think about 5-6 years after me. But we know Collingwood football. When we see Collingwood football, you know what it is, right? It's uncompromising, right? It's ruthless, right? And you do not give up. Doesn't matter how far behind you are. You got pride with the jumper, right? You got pride with the jumper, mate, and you don't lay down for no cocksucker. No one. What are your thoughts for the weekend?
Manny, I'm going to let you go. Thank you, sir.
All right, buddy.
Just quickly before I let you go, I'll tell you now.
Hello.
I reckon the Pies are going to win. I've just got this feeling. I've got this feeling the Pies are going to get up by about 30 points this week. I've just got this feeling that we're going to. I watched them against Carlton. I watched the way that Geelong played. I know they're going to come out and they're going to go crazy and stuff like that. But I just think, especially with Darcy Moore returning down back, I've just got this thing that we are going to absolutely go out there, and even when they challenge us, we're going to come out and we're going to win by 30 points. And I'm going to put it in my preview, which is going to drop on Thursday. But I'm tipping us by 30 points, and I'm tipping the players like, you know.
What about Schultz?
I think
Schultz, is he coming in?
Schultz, I'm not sure yet. I'd honestly, I'd probably give Schultz one more week and then bring him in for the Freo game. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind giving him a 2 weeks rest and then bringing him against Adelaide or something like that. You know, just at the gym. I still think that I think got Geelong about 30 points this week. Anyway, Manny, bro. Thank you so much for joining on. The comments that I'm getting are amazing.
Good to talk to you, bro. Take care. Good work. Good to talk to you, bro. Take care, yeah? Yes.
No worries. Thank you so much. And make sure you get your phone fixed. All right. So obviously, Manny is going to be a fan favorite here. So if I'll tell him to get his phone fixed so he can jump on more often. But I love the passion that we've got with a lot of these supporters and stuff, which is fantastic. But like he's right in the sense that, like, you know, you can see when we play, there is a hunger and there is a desire that's obviously really different, which we didn't have last year, and I think that we got that towards the back end of last season. So we'll see how we go. Peter said that Schultz said he says that Schultz will play, and that he also trained very well today. So I think Thursday is the main session. I'm going to try get down to it. I'm not sure if I can. I'm going to try get down to it. Today was more just a light one, get the legs over. They did train indoor on Monday as well. So I think there's a day off tomorrow, and Thursday they're in for their main session. And then obviously the captains run on Friday. So if you're in town, if you're in there, make sure you get to training. Try and message on Instagram Jen's Training Buzz, or even you can message Swoop Luke as well. They've got all their inside knowledge about times and stuff like that, but they usually do post some of the main sessions online for people to see. Also here too, it's great to see that now there's just a couple of things that I wanted to quickly mention before we head off tonight. So, it's great to hear also that Bobby Hill is about to re-sign. That's amazing, the fact that he's about to do it. We're also getting news that Brazzy's not far from re-signing, and also Darcy Cameron. I would assume that these ones here will sign their contracts and do everything by the mid-season break. So around King's birthday, I think you're going to start to see most of those contract signings happen. If you don't see it by then, that's probably when smoke, fire, stories have got a bit of legs into it then. But who knows? We could wake up tomorrow morning, or by the time this live stream finishes, there's news coming out that these guys have signed and whatever. But I think we are most likely to keep all of our players, which is exactly what you want. Going back to the video that I posted, which I did want to quickly touch on, I posted a video about Matt Rao, Christian Petrarca, and obviously Bontempelli. The feedback was good. I got some comments on that video that were like, that's bullshit. They're not coming. This is ridiculous. It was very much of a hypothetical video. So I'm not the gospel. I'm not going to give you exactly everything that you want to hear. I am going to post some videos that are hypotheticals here. We all want to win Tats Lotto one day. So, the Collingwood Tats Lotto is either a premiership or Bontempelli signing for Collingwood. So obviously I'm going to do that too. So can I just quickly here show this? Go get your Gidos before the game on Saturday. They've done the same thing for Anthony Price Footy, donated $20 to the channel. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. That's goes a long way. Any contribution to the channel is obviously, much appreciated. So I really do appreciate that's there's a lot of hard work that goes behind the scenes to make something like this happen. And obviously with working full time and everything too, 2 kids, a wife, everything, it's obviously extremely hard, but this is the most important of not important things. And, one day, hopefully I get to do it full time, and, that just, it is what it is. But I love everybody's contribution to the channel and stuff. So thank you so much for that, Manny. That's awesome. Peter said, he goes, I believe Cameron won't be too far behind in re-signing. Well, apparently on the midweek tackle, they did say about Bobby Hill, and then I did get a message right after from one of my mates in Jake Bozanovsky, who I think is still in the chat here, saying that they also said stuff about Darcy Cameron and Braden Maynard, which is amazing. Now, I am going to give you guys a new segment in my lives, which I am going to do now. It is called the bold call of the week. The bold call of the week. And my bold call this week is, and everybody can screenshot this and blah, 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 but I have just got this feeling that come the end of the season, during the Brownlow medal, right, that by the mid-year part, which will be King's birthday, Steel Sidebottom is going to be Collingwood's highest poll getter in the Brownlow coming up to King's birthday. And I'm taking into consideration Pendlebury playing well, Ned Long playing well, Dacos smashing it every week, Josh Dacos smashing it every week, and Darcy Cameron doing well too. I am going to say that Steel Sidebottom will be Collingwood's leading poll getter by King's birthday in the Brownlow medal. So that's my bold call for the week. I just think the way that he's playing his football now, and the way that he's going about everything at his age, and, him only being, 2 years younger than me or something, for him to be doing what he's doing is just, it's ridiculous. And then you look even further, add another 3 years onto that, whatever, and you look at what Scott Pendlebury's doing, and the way that he played that game was just insane. Like, absolutely insane. Guys, we've got time for another person to jump on the fan cams before I finish up. So I will get the link up again if anyone wants to jump on. Now is your chance before we finish up. Also, don't forget, in the bio, there is the hoodies still available. I've got them over there. So if you want one, it's available. Sizes go from pretty much from small to 3XL. Feel free to jump on the link in the bio and get one. And we can go from there. But yeah, jump on. The link is obviously in the chat if you want to come on. We've got time for one more before we head off. I'll just go through these comments here. Peter's just smashing the comments out tonight, man. You are just such a good contributor to this channel. Thank you so much. He goes, I think Bobby will have a weight lifted off his shoulders this Saturday night. Bobby to be electric in perfect conditions and kick 4. Now, there's players like Bobby Hill. Like Isaac Quain has been good too, but like I say a lot about like Isaac Quainer and Bowman Crew because I just think these guys are like such important links in the chain where, you know, they could have days with literally like they're that second tier of guns in our team that can just win, you know, all the time and stuff, you know. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. But in regards to Bobby, potentially, I don't want him to then re-sign and then it ends up being like a Brody Grundy where you just have absolute, like you just go downhill after you re-sign. But I think obviously Bobby's a completely different player to Grundy. But you know, we'll see what happens in that space there. But you know, if it's dry, I really do see Bobby kicking the same as what you said, like a 4-goal game. I mean, who's going to stop him? But then at the same time, I also see players like a Tyson Stengel. I also see like a Tyson Stengel from, is it Tyson Stengel? Why did I say Tyson Stengel? Is it Stengel from Geelong? Like I also see players like him, like just dominating against us as well. So, yeah. Got someone here, Boomer. Can you hear me? Give us a thumbs up if you can. No, all right. I'm not. Can you hear me or not? Yeah, I'm not liking the look of that one there. So I'm just gonna say no to that one there, just for the sake of it, just in case. Just looked a bit sus. Melissa Kabata. Love my Bobby boy. I think we all do. Yeah, look, we do need obviously his speed and stuff like that in this game. But here we go. Chris has come up with his bold call. He goes, my bold call is Ned Long to win the best and fairest for Collingwood. I reckon if he keeps going the way that he's going, I genuinely think he is a top 5 chance. And I say I don't think he'll win it, only because he hasn't played every game leading up to it. And Nick, Josh, Pendle, Sidey, even times Jeremy Howe, you know, I think these players have definitely played consistently good the entire time. So I'm a bit more. Hang on a second. So I'm a bit more inclined to think that someone like a Ned Long will finish in the top 5 if he continues on the way that he goes now. But it's a good call. I love it too. Jeremy Cameron is the type that towers us up. I don't know if you guys remember this. There was a game, I think it was back in like 2011 or 2012 so it would have been 2012 when GWS came in and he was playing on Lockie Keefe and he absolutely smashed Lockie Keefe. I think we smashed him by, I can't remember what the margin was, but we ended up smashing him. But I think he kicked like 6 or 7 goals that game. And you were just like, this kid's ridiculous. And he just continuously decides to, you know, tear it up against us. If Ned gets a top 10 finish in the BNF, that would be huge. I think he's top 5. I genuinely think he's going to be in the top 5. I've got Luke here. I'm going to add him to the stage. His camera's not on, but if we can get the same sort of vibe that Manny gave us, that'd be amazing. We'll get him on. See how he goes here. Hang on a second. Get him on. It's just loading. Luke, can you hear me?
Yes, Andreas, g'day.
Can you hear me, mate?
Yes, mate.
Thanks for tuning in, man.
Yeah, no worries.
Tell me what your thoughts are of the Pies so far this season. Tell me what.
Well, along with the same theme that Manny was talking about, I think that the AFL really tried. They love to cash in on us, so they gave us the draw from hell. Now, apart from the GWS game, not only we were in really good form early, but we were hitting sides who finished in the 8 last year who aren't going that well, and that's one of the reasons we're 6-1 right now. So we've banked those wins. My only concern would be we may be peaking a bit early, because in 2023 we certainly peaked too early.
Yeah.
By the time finals came around, we weren't playing that well, but we were so good that we won a flag, falling across the line in all of those finals. So that'll be interesting to see how they manage it and get to our peak leading up to finals. So that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I was saying in a few of my videos earlier, and I wanted to bring this up with Manny, but I could barely get a word in because it was just too good what he was saying. But what I said in some of my videos previously, and I said this in the live a couple of weeks ago, is that like I see the season in blocks, right? So we obviously, we had like that first game, the opening round, whatever, it is what it is. But then like the games against like Sydney, Brisbane, then obviously Essendon and Geelong, it was like I said, I wanted to make sure that we had at least 3 out of 4 of them, and 3 out of 4 of those was a pass mark. And the one that I was the most doubtful on was obviously the Brisbane game, because obviously being away and stuff like that. I don't really have too many worries about playing Geelong, especially the way that we played against them, especially the way, Carlton played against them last week. I think we can play against them even better than what they did and be a lot more quicker, because they did look very slow and sluggish, and they are coming off a 6-day break. But I think regardless of that, we are banking the wins early, but it is going to open up later in the season where I'm not sure where, if we get over Geelong this week, and not to sound cocky or anything, but I don't really know where our next loss is going to come from. And I think it's going to come from a place where we stuff it up ourselves. We just have an off day, not where we're actually beaten by a better team, if that makes sense. I just think it's going to be that there's going to be a moment where it's like we're going to switch off. Now, I've got no issues if we switch off and we lose to a bottom side or whatever, and it's just one of those anomaly games, and it happens because it's going to happen at some point this season. But I'd rather it happen sooner than obviously later in the season coming towards the finals. Would you agree with that?
Yep. Yeah, I got the answer for that. We're going to win every game up until round 12. Do you know who we're playing then? Have a guess.
Is that it's around 12?
Someone
That'll
in the chat.
be
I bet you someone in the chat.
the West Coast at Marvel.
No, it's Hawthorn.
Would that be Melbourne or West Coast at Marvel? Round 12.
That's the Hawthorn game.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I reckon since I was born,
I'm not watching that game.
I reckon
I'm not watching that game.
Yeah, I reckon since I was born. Yeah, I reckon since I was born, we've only beaten Hawthorn. I reckon I can count on 2 hands how many times we've beaten Hawthorn since I was born. They have been one of the worst bogey teams for us moving forward. So a couple of people here have said, and Spike, which is Corey, he goes that we're going to lose to the bye. So I'd happily lose to the bye by anyone else. So the game against Geelong, how much are you tipping us by?
I reckon I agree with you. I reckon it's going to be 30 plus. That they're going to come out. That they will come out firing and.
All right, I did lose him then, so I do apologise for that. That did that did drop out. We'll just go through a couple of comments here. We need to start rotating players after the Cats match to preserve players, reduce injuries, and enhance our depth. I think that's going to happen regardless. I think that's going to happen pretty much from closer to the bye week, which is around King's birthday. I think we're going to start managing a lot of players around that side there. And then we've got one here. So this is one that I wanted to say, how is Tom Mitchell coming along? Is he back at light training? He's full training. Tom Mitchell is full training, and he will be part of the VFL team potentially in the next 3 weeks. He'll be playing half a game in the twos, and then he'll go there. So if anybody wants to grab the fixture out there, count 3 weeks of more rehab. The 4th week, he'll play the VFL, half a game in the VFL. And then the 5th week, he'll be available for selection. But I do believe that'll be pushing close to the bye week. So if I was Collingwood, I'd take a very conservative approach and don't play him till after the King's birthday, after we have that bye. And then I think we may even have Gold Coast after that. I'm not sure. I wouldn't even let him travel. I'd get him in for that last half to maybe third of the season and let him go then. But then at the same time, we go through the conundrum of moving the magnets to see where's he going to play, who's coming out. Does Tom Mitchell only come into the side if there's an injury? I mean, it's just this is a great position for us to be in. It could be a frustrating one for the coaches, but it's a great one for us to be in. My tip, obviously, is I'm going to say Collingwood by 32 points against Geelong. I just think that we're going to be way, way too fast and slick for them. They will come out firing, but I just think we've got the class to obviously. I just think we've got the class to beat them and to get them where it matters the most. We have hoodies available. We have memberships available. We have everything ready to go on this channel. I do apologize at the start. We had a few technical difficulties, but we did get up finally, and it was a fantastic live. We had heaps of people on tonight. Fan cams is always good. So just want to also thank our sponsors for the live stream. So we've got the Hopper Bros Barbecue. Make sure you visit their Instagram, and also to New Homes Victoria. Thank you so much for everything that you guys are doing for the channel. Make sure you give their Instagram a follow. Make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you call it as you see it. And as always, go the Pies.